That was a confirmation. My alarm went off right when I said your life could look pretty decent. I pray that I was recording all that. But yeah, your life could look pretty decent on the outside looking in, but your internal factors are all messed up simply because you never did the real internal work. You did the internal busy work because you procrastinated the real work, the inner work, the shadow work, the light work, the real work we're supposed to be doing that nobody really knows about. Like, yes, we talk. Just because people talk about things doesn't mean they know about things or they know about what they're talking about. And a lot of people have to reincarnate here time after time again after they think they are on their last one because they're not doing the real work, or they're not subjecting themselves to do the real work because it's beneath or above them, or they classified it as beneath or above them. And if they didn't classify it beneath or above them, they, to a more exact point, they've classified the work as something that's non-existent. They've classified the work as something impossible to do, or they've chalked it up to not having time. But in a spiritual sense, that time word is so tricky, because what do you mean you don't have time to do the inner work? That's like saying your body doesn't have time to do all the functions it has to keep you alive. You're not telling your body to breathe on a conscious scale, but on a subconscious scale, or whatever scale the body tells itself to breathe so it can pump. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these things that we need to do, the inner work, it comes from source. So with that being said, if source can do a lot of things, not multitasking, multitasking, simultaneously, we are like the creator. So we, in a sense, can do what the creator does on a minute scale for ourselves, because there's no way that our kin or the people that come after us are going to live a fully beneficial life if we're just doing the surface level, earth, hello, have kids and this and that, and then we die. We do all the stuff that we do on earth is good. I'm not saying stop doing that, because those things fuel us when the heavier stuff gets to be too much. But at the same time, to completely drop off, it's like spiritual people don't want to live real life, so then they drop off the 5D and they completely be in psychosis for the rest of their life. Or a really person that's really rooted in the earth reality went through something spiritually, or just is not, their belief factors are all different, so they completely can't even perceive the 3D for what it is. So sorry, I'm about to say 5D, but they can't perceive the 3D for what it is, and they get lost in the 5D. Dang. So basically, I'm just channeling a lot of lost energy, but it's not lost as in rivers of lost souls. It's lost as in lost because you want to be found by a specific source. A lot of people, it's almost like a cat and mouse game with God. A lot of people I'm picking up didn't have the conversation they wanted with God, the real conversation they wanted, or God didn't respond in the way that they perceived God was going to, or the talk with God that they finally got wasn't favorable by them. When you hear a truth that's so inevitable, and truths that are very not avoidable at times, because we're living in the age of where dissociation is almost necessary, because there's so much bullshit around us, and there's healthy levels of dissociation you need to stay sane. But because we all subconsciously know how to do that, I feel like we've dissociated from God in so many ways, and this has been going on for centuries, dissociating from source. And these conversations on how to get back to God, and what God is, and who God is, and why did God put us here, and so many versions of why that happened. And it's a lot of these conversations we're having as a species is getting very redundant and tired, And it's to the point where the moment you keep doing stuff like this, what is the definition of insanity? Doing something over and over again, expecting a different result. So if we're having the same tiring conversations, you know, I'm not saying we do the same thing as the people did as far as taking the book of Enoch out the Bible. But I'm saying certain conversations don't need to be platformed as big as they are being platformed for the benefit or the evolution of the human consciousness. You know what I'm saying? That's how people can get away with saying these conversations or these facts that people are putting out about anything is a distraction from what's really going on, because no one, A, has really studied nuance, and B, that's basically it's like humanity has become so skilled in the red herring. And if you know nothing about a red herring in literature, it's literally just something you can use to distract the reader or the audience from the main objective. I believe so. I smell honeysuckle. That might be significant too. Like, there are other senses besides the 5. But we can't get past the 5 if people haven't fully accepted that the 5D reality is just the 3D, but dressed up differently. It's almost like the belly button inside out. 3 and 5 are both odd numbers, correct? And there are no numbers that are whole that you can devise. Okay, so 5 divided by nothing is nothing divided by anything is 5, and nothing divided by anything is 3. Sorry, I don't know how it paused my recording. I don't know, but yeah, nothing's divisible by these numbers. As far as that goes, so they're grouped together like that. They're similar in that way. Odd numbers, divisible shit. What else? They're both realms that have their own laws attached to them, that if you break it, there will be consequences. And then you have the 4th dimension that everybody doesn't like to talk about, because in the 4th dimension, I believe you have the crossroads and everything that's a little bit even more taboo, because you're in between realms. And I really want to discuss if the 4th dimension is a dimension at all sometimes, simply because of our ability to avoid it or have too many conversations about it. And I feel like it's only set up that way. The 4th dimension feels like Pluto to me. Like, I'm a die on that hill. We don't ever need to stop having conversations about Pluto, simply because it fucking diminished in thin air over time. But if you think about it in that way, Pluto, sorry, my stream of consciousness is interesting today. Pluto is now an allegory, or is now Jesus in a sense, or is now Buddha, or is now a deity. If you think about it, all these, usually in all these stories, all these planets have significant stories attached to deities and gods, and how, you know, they rule over that or whatever, guys. But metaphorically speaking, Pluto being that non-existent to the human eye at this point in time in reality on Earth, how we perceive it is very significant, I believe, to the times we're in, because we still get heavily affected by the energy of Pluto, and that's not going to go away or stop. But we have to know, not only do we have to believe, because we believe it's a planet because we've studied it for all these years, but we have to also just know it was and will forever remain a planet, but it just won't be seen or visible by the naked eye. Hence why we're in the age of Aquarius right now, as we speak. The age of knowing certain things that cannot be seen by the naked eye, because this lens was only built for the 3D. And a lot of us had our lens or whatever for the 5D right when we came here, but because of fear and other things that calcify our gifts,